Hey there, Procrastubators, it's Zads. Welcome to another episode. This time, not about technology. Why? Well, as a lot of you may know, my video releases can be kind of sporadic. What I wanted to do today is actually talk a little about why that happens. So I wanted to actually do some videos on the topic of ADHD, specifically my experiences with ADHD. Hopefully this will give you a bit more of an understanding of where I'm at, as well as any of you who are either suffering from ADHD or have a friend who suffers from ADHD, give you a bit of an idea on how you can help them, how you can help yourself, and what you need to do to cope as an adult. Don't take all the advice from me because trust me, I'm not coping very well as an adult. Today what we're going to look at is a couple of things: mood regulation and lack of, and social anxiety. Two major things that are side effects of having ADHD. So these are a light-hearted look at the dark sides of ADHD. Let's go. So the reason I've chosen this topic is because recently this is something that actually happened to me. So it's pretty fresh in my mind. Some of the details are true. I'm not going to go through the entire story, but basically what I wanted to go through is where people with ADHD often struggle with regulating their own mood, especially when they get in high stress situations and when the anxiety is turned up to 1,000,000. And how tiny little things that just happen throughout the night pile on to turn into one big monstrous thing that just causes one big fuck off explosion. So I'm assuming you all know what mood regulation is. It is, well, just your ability to regulate your moods. Like most normal people, we can get grumpy at things when shitty things happen. We can be made happy when good things happen, all that wonderful stuff. Sometimes our mood can just change because it can. No other reason for it. Nothing bad's happened, nothing to make us angry, or nothing that should have made us angry anyway. Or nothing good's happened, and all of a sudden, yeah, we're in a cheery mood. We just want to fuck shit up. Or a bad mood where we also want to fuck shit up. So when you have social anxiety, it's sort of a bit like, it's like a battery, a nuclear reactor. Things can change. So basically you have sort of an upper level of what you can deal with in any particular period of time. So that could be like a night out with friends, that could be going out and playing sports ball of some sort.
Guys, on your right, pop. Yes.
Could be any number of things, but basically you have a certain amount that you can tolerate. That is actually the case for most normal people as well, except their tolerance is, yeah, far higher than what mine is and what most ADHD people's is. It can vary. Different people, different things set them off, different things sort of get in their head. Like for me, can't stand babies, hate the noises that they make, don't think they're particularly cute. The laughing noise that they make, really grinding. That's a big thing for me. I hate, yeah, especially when they're on aircraft. I just want to, Anyway, but yeah, the basics are, there's an upper limit. After that, shit goes awry. You know, kind of like a nuclear reactor. Just to give you a bit of background, out with some friends one night. I just finished up a gym session with another friend of mine. 3, 4. Feeling pretty good after that. We did some new max weights, which was really good, feeling pretty pumped, but I mean, it was the end of a work day, so, you know, pretty exhausted. But we're off to dinner with some friends. So me and him walk off to a little burger restaurant. I personally didn't feel like burgers that night for some reason. So yeah, that, you know, bit of stress there. So obviously being tired, finishing a workout and going to a place that I wasn't overly enthused about, yeah, that sort of, you know, took a bit of the power away. So not the best start. Anyway, we arrive at the restaurant, everything's good. And yeah, for some reason, I just have this new sensation. Somebody touches me. And no, touching's not the new sensation, obviously. I mean, people hug and all of that shit and handshakes and you name it. But for some reason this night, I just felt a bit off by it. So that was a new sensation for me. I, for some reason, didn't enjoy it. I was shocked by it. I just went, okay, fuck you. But I didn't tell anyone because, I mean, yeah, that's just a weird thing to bring up at the dinner table. Anyway, I left it at that, thought everything was okay, just had that heightened stress that you feel on, you know, like back of your spine. Kind of sucks, but what do you do? A little bit later that night, there was an incident. I'm not going to go into detail on this, it's a bit personal, but all of a sudden, shit's heightened. Like I felt kind of sad and sorry for someone and a bit annoyed at somebody else. And yeah, I'm just feeling, okay, I want to. But, you know, can't just go and do that, can you? Can you? No, you can't. Anyway, we decide we're all going to go off and have some dessert. And we get to a little dessert place, sit down, and I decide, you know what, I've had enough, I'm tired, I want to go home. I want to sleep, I've got work in the morning, blah, blah, yada, yada. So I go to my bestie and say goodnight, and this is the difference between what happened and what was going through my head at the time. So what happened is I said goodbye to him.
Hey Sads, see you later, man. Come give me a hug.
And then for no other reason, I decided I didn't like him and decided to have an argument with him. What was going through my head is that I was talking to him and he was talking in a tone that I didn't like.
See you later, man. I'll see you when I see you.
Because it felt like he was just dismissing me, and because I had all the other shit that happened earlier in the night, I was like, and yeah, so then I exploded at him. And that was a really fucking good example of not being able to regulate my own mood because of all the social anxiety shit that happened earlier that night. So how did we get there? Well, it was just piling on. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, just shit piling on. Nothing that anyone's actually done wrong, just anxious, 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 taking power from my pseudo-nuclear reactor, by the way, built by the Soviet Union, so it's a piece of shit and falling apart, made out of cardboard and sadness, and then just kept pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and then boom, I lost my shit. And I offended a friend and it sucked. What was actually happening? People being polite, talking, nothing interesting. And because of what was going through my head, I decided, fuck you cunts, shot out a rocket, and not only did I blow my friend to pieces, proverbially of course, but there was splash damage. Of course, everyone else saw what happened and everyone else went, so yeah, ended up in a pretty shitty situation. The good news is that's all been dealt with. It's all fine. Me and my bestie made up and I explained it to a few friends what actually happened and they've been really understanding about it, which is really awesome. But how do we get here? Well, as I said, social anxiety just kept piling on. The reactor exploded. I severely overreacted, severely. And then cool heads prevail about 2 minutes later and I'm completely devastated. And now I've got people to apologize to. The thing is, at the best of times, shit like this, really hard to control. At the worst of times, shit like this, no control, none whatsoever. Because at the time you've gotten your body into that fight or flight response, it just wants to fucking fight. Maybe it wants to run away, I don't know. Maybe I should have run away. But that's not what is going through my head at the time. I didn't think about running away. I didn't think about asking for help. I didn't think about any of this. And to make matters worse, sure, my bestie knows some of what goes on in my head. At that stage, not everything. And that's what's really, really important here. You can't do it alone. Doesn't matter what you do, you can't deal with this alone, because as much as you'd like to be that strong, independent person where nothing ever fucking affects you and you can live alone and all the other lies that you tell yourself every night, trust me, I tell the same ones. Can't do it alone. And that's because sometimes shit's gonna spiral, shit's gonna get out of control, and somebody else has to pull you out of it, because try as you fucking might, you're not gonna identify it every time. And I didn't.
No, you didn't.
Sucked. And I didn't. I know that now. So if you're a person that does suffer from ADHD like this, you need your friends. If you have them, you need your family. If you're going into a situation that's high anxiety, that you know isn't the best place for you, then it really helps to have somebody there who's got your back. And sometimes it might just be that you need somebody to say, all right, come with me, let's go have a breath. Come with me, let's take a breather. Or even, come with me, let's have a breather. Kidding, actually I'm not, it's medicinal. But that's the point. You need to work out what brings you to your happy place. What calms you down? What de-escalates the situation? One of my friends, who happens to be a teacher and teaches tiny things, suggested to me, and I haven't tried it yet, but suggested to me, just running your finger, just around your fingers, and concentrating on that for a minute. Maybe moving the energy somewhere else through your hands, and, instead of moving your energy somewhere else and going, because that's bad. You shouldn't punch people, kids. Luckily for me, I never get to that point where I want to, you need to figure out what is going to cool you down, and you're not the only person to know about it. You need to tell people. If they see you fuming, if they see you seething, if they see you going, fuck, I want to fucking move this fucking piece of shit, then they need to help you identify that. Because, as I said, you're not always going to pick it by yourself. Sometimes you're going to fuck up. Sometimes you're going to do the wrong thing. But if you've got a friend there that knows, yeah, okay, he's going to fucking cut a bitch, they can help you. They can take you away from that scene. They can go, all right, there.
Oh, come here, so cute. There.
Or maybe it's just as simple as getting them to give you a big fat fucking hug. Or running your finger down your finger. Or maybe you're more like me, and maybe that happy place just involves loud, emo, hardcore punk music. Each to their own. Listening to some sort of thrash metal certainly calms me down. True story. Or maybe you calm yourself down by playing video games. Or honestly, maybe you just need to pull yourself out of the situation entirely and head on home. That's okay. It's okay if you need to head on home. Don't feel bad about it. But as I said before, it's not something that you can deal with alone. Be honest with your friends, be honest with any family that you have, and let them know what is going on. Because if they care about you, they're not going to be worried about this. They're going to be more concerned about your well-being than they are about having to put up with you, occasionally being in a pissy mood.
Occasionally? Right.
I mean, you probably already have been in a pissy mood, let's face it. We're not that good at hiding it.
Oh, no shit.
But yeah, that's my story. That's my advice. You might have your own coping mechanisms. Be happy to hear it down in the comments if you do. And I'm glad I shared this story with you today. Till next time.